Welcome to my channel. Here you will find out how to do mixed media art on a shoestring using recycled paper, paper bags, magazines, old books and music sheets, to name just a few items. This absorbing hobby helps one to cope with stress, chronic pain, grief, whatever. Give it a try. It works. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well. I'm feeling nice and bouncy and happy this week. It's a nice start to the week, is it not? Right, so what we're going to do today is a cover for the dreaded journal. I don't want to have to look at that ugly black board anymore. So we are using the papers that are created with the brayering tool after we finished the stained glass video with the leftover paints from there. And I've just got to kind of color up around the edges here so that we don't have so much white showing, because that tends to be just a tad boring. And you will notice that I'm mixing my paint on a sheet of paper. There's method in my madness, because yet another way of saving money and time is to turn that into a masterboard once it gets too full of paint to safely use to mix on. So you see, we get very smart in this house. Right, that's enough green, I would say. Let's get some red in there. So of course is my temperamental alizarin crimson, the ancient old lady like me. But she's not nearly as cooperative as I am, I can see this. Anyway, not to worry, we will just press on regardless. Although this is a completely different method to the brayering, the application of color randomly like this is enough to just make the two of them come together without too much of a contrast. It's quite amazing how well these things work when you give it a go. What do they say? Used to be an expression way back when I was a child. For the sake of the show, give it a go. I'll never forget that. My dad used to say it from time to time when we got a bit miserable about stuff that we had to do and didn't really want to. He'd pat us on the head and say, never mind, my girlie. For the sake of the show, give it a go. And somehow that managed to cheer me up and make me think I was doing something special. Here we go. That's enough, I think, of this one, or for this one. It's covered over quite nicely, and it's not contrasting tremendously with what was there already. It's actually behaving quite nicely together. So that will go over there to dry off. And here comes that one, this one here. This is going to be the front cover. And this one here is going to be the back cover. Whoops. Shouldn't be using the green paint. Hang on, let me change sponges. I don't think it's necessary for us to sit through the coloring of the second page, because it's pretty much the same as the first, so that's why it's sped up here. I'm trying to keep the length of my videos to about 30 minutes. Do you guys think that's a good idea? Please let me know in the comments below. You know, it makes a big difference if I get some feedback from you. So yeah, thanks very much in advance. Now our little masterboards are nice and dry. I'll move on to the next step, which one would call a layer. So far we've done 2 layers. We've put on the brayer ring, And then today we did the dabbing with the sponges around the edges and just to blend everything together. So that's layer 2. And now we're moving on to layer 3, which is going to be quite fun, because layer 3 we're doing some mark making with the homemade mark makers. This one is going to be white. You'll see I'm back onto the glass plate again. That's because the paint needs to be spread and moistened and so on and so forth, so it would get a bit messy on a piece of paper. But that's fine, we don't mind. This is all good fun. Okay, spread this out a little bit until we've got an area that's suitable. And what we're starting off with is some bubble wrap. Bubble wrap is a lovely mark maker. I'll show you now. Actually, I think maybe the first bit I will use the sponge to just dab on the paint, because it is quite thick and quite wet and I don't want to make a mess. So here we go. Now you'll notice this is, or you may not have noticed, but this is the back cover that I've started working on. It was quite a good hint from that lovely lady Karen, who or Karen, I'm not too sure how to pronounce her name, but she was the first one I ever watched when I was learning about art journaling to help me cope with pain. So she always said, do the back page first so that you can see if you've made any mistakes, and then you can correct them for the front page, which I think is rather clever. But here, look at this. Don't you think it's lovely? It the white spots, what that does is it kind of pushes back those bright colors and just kind of calms everything down slightly, which is, I think, what I need to go along with the other things I want to do here, because we're going to do this mark making with the bubble wrap, and then after that I'm going to show you what to do with cardboard box, because that makes the most awesome mark makers. Now you see, I learned from the back page that I was actually adding too much of too big a stamp of the color. I feel like it's taking over too much of the front page to do it that way, because on here, of course, I want to put some kind of focal image. So as far as I'm concerned, this is plenty adequate. We don't need to do any more with that. Alrighty, now we're on to the next lot of mark making, and this is one of the ones I love so much. I've made different shapes. Let me show you quickly. Let's move you out the way. Out of cardboard boxes. And as you can see, what you do is you can actually spray your cardboard box on the one side with a little bit of water, and then you can peel off that extra layer. You see there's one that's still got a few of the little pieces of that layer on there. Here's another one with some pieces of that layer. But then you cut out shapes and you use those for stamping, and it's just awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. Now the one I've decided to use today, because I'm going to do it with black paint, So I want to do a nice little geometric design in black paint with this piece of cardboard. So here we go. I've squeezed out the paint. I just need to add a little bit of water. I think that's a long enough strip, of wet paint. And let's hit it. So you don't have to use the whole piece of cardboard. You can use whatever you fancy. I'm going to just use some of it. And you're not looking for perfection. You're looking for something organic. But I do want to keep it kind of at the correct angle on the page. So I'm going to do this. Look at that. I think it's fantastic. I love the way this works. And something I've not mentioned, I don't think. When you're doing lots of different kind of mark making exercises, use the rule of 3. It's actually the rule of odd numbers, but I always tend to use 3. What you do is you try to position 3 of the same design when you're doing backgrounds. Like, for example, this. Now I've got 3 of the white splotches, and now I've put 3 of the black, but I don't think that's quite enough. So this is where you go to the odd and even number thingy. People recommend that you don't do even numbers of design on a page, because it doesn't please the eye of the observer. So if I think that 3 is not enough, then I will do 5, just to obey the rules. There we go. There's our back page. Now let's do the front one. I'm going to try and do just 3 here, because I have plans to decoupage on a rather lovely focal image, but it's going to be a surprise. I'm not going to tell you right now, because I want to show it to you first and prepare it with you guys and then apply it. So I'm going to, I think that is plenty, and I think that is beautiful. I love it. I absolutely love it. The bubble wrap I didn't worry about, because I've got masses and masses. My daughter does a lot of online shopping, so of course I get lots of packaging, which is fantastic. Later on in the year, you're going to see what I do with leftover packaging. But I've got lots and lots of bubble wrap, so when I'm finished using a little bit of bubble wrap, I throw it away. This one, not so much, because I can leave this paint to dry and then I can just use it again, or I can use this area of it next time and then only throw it away when it's not working anymore. So let's get this one dry. This morning I was tidying up my bedroom, moving some books around. I have to confess here, folks, I am a hoarder of books. I'm a shocker. Anyway, long story short, I found 2 books in my stash of books, and one was for patchwork, and the other one was for applique, sewing machine applique. and they're kind of what would you call them, retro books, because they were published, I saw, in the 1980s. So the artwork is very different to what we have today, but lovely understated abstracts are some of the things that I do like from that era. And what I found was some birds. Have a look here. I've traced them off because I think they're just gorgeous. I want to cut them into pieces, you know, make actual little templates of them and use them in my art journaling. But what I have done is I have chosen one pattern to cut out two little birds, because what we're doing is using, I don't know if I've mentioned it already, I'm a little bit forgetful today. I'm using the leftover masterboards that we made on the very first video. So here is the coral colored one where I've cut out the two little bird shapes. And then I decided to add a tail to each of them. So I used the other one, the other masterboard, see, the purple and blue one. And from that, I have cut out kind of abstract feather shapes. This will be for the one bird, so this will be the cock bird, and then this will be for the little hen. And what I'm doing is I'm using my acrylic markers to outline. You'll see here that I've already started to outline these feathers with the purple marker, and I've picked out nice bright red, bright yellow, and a green because of the background, the colors in the background. So I'm going to outline and decorate around these feathers to turn them into tails for the little birds. So I'm going to go silent on you now and probably speed everything up. Outlining with the acrylic markers is really nice because being acrylic, it means that it's opaque. So any little raggedy bits around the edge of the tail feathers is going to be covered up, and it'll look all nice and smooth and professional, which pleases me no end. Now I'm using the nice bright green around the edge of the purple all the way around. Purple and green was a very popular 1960s color combination for clothing and shoes and that sort of thing. It's one of my favorite mixes. Now moving from the green to the red, we're going to be continuing with the outline of each feather. But this time I'm going to go a bit thicker with the red color, because it adds a bit of variation to the edging and is also a good color for emphasizing shape, as you will see. It's a lovely contrast as well to the green, because it really they make each other pop. I do notice that the tail feathers layout is not exactly balanced, you know, they're a little bit off center, but that doesn't matter. So what? That's called artistic license, isn't it? And I rest my case. I'll be using the yellow to make a background between all the different colored feathers. Also nice and bright. It'll make the whole tail very noticeable, and kind of adds a little finishing touch to the tail, I think. Speaking of cock's tail, do you know that cocktails actually were called, well, according to urban legend, cocktails are so called because when the little fancy drinks were invented, the barman with a great flourish used a cock's tail feather to stir the drink before presenting it to the public. True or not, I'm not 100% sure, but it's rather a good story, don't you think? And there we have it. Something looking rather strange but attractive. Brightly colored, to say the least. Okay, so now let's cut this out, and we can reshape it with the bird. I hope you're enjoying this one. I'm finding it great fun. You know, I'm getting a lot braver with the video story. You know, in the beginning I was so worried about not looking very professional and not doing very well that I actually made things worse because I was so busy trying to be smooth and polished that I was everything but. However, I've now decided that I don't have to be smooth and polished. I don't have to be distant and precise and concise and so on and so forth. I just have to be me, having fun, healing with art, and hoping to help anybody who's following me to heal as well from whatever trauma bothers you, whether it be big, small, or indifferent. A trauma is a trauma. Okay, let's have a look at this. I think it's rather gorgeous. I think it's going to be very cool. Yes, I do. Okay. Now, which side to put him? I just want to lay it out and see. I think what I might do is put the little hen here and put his lordship up there so that he can flash his tail in all its glory. There. How's that? I think I rather like that. So what I'm going to do is glue this down, and then once I've done that, we'll talk some more. Oh dear. The light has changed a little bit because the sun's come out and it's kind of shining very brightly through a window in my little tiny studio. So the colors are not as true as they should be. This is a dark purple. I'm seeing it now as being a kind of a bluish grey. So I hope it's going to cloud over. A terrible thing to say after we've had so much rain and bad weather. But I do need it to cloud over just a little bit for me, please. Let me put the glue stick to work. And here you go, my little hen. Okay, madam, let's put your little tail on. Such a little insignificant one compared to the boss, isn't it? But that's all right. He wouldn't know what to do without you, would he? I rather like that her tail's coming up over his, giving it a bit of perspective. There we have it. Our little exotic fantasy birds starting to take shape on that lovely background that we have achieved. So now it's just a case of detail, outlining in detail. So just do the eyes. I'm using all manner of strange and wonderful containers for all my things. Look at this lid. It should be in my kitchen. My kitchen's bright shades of mainly lime green. One day we'll do a walk about my cottage and show you where I live. It was an outbuilding that my son-in-law and daughter renovated for me a couple of years ago so that I could move in and live here with them. I've never been happier. So much has happened. So much has improved in my life. I'm very blessed. Right, I hope we've stopped having to glue down little random bits that are jumping up and saying hello. Let me just put the eyes in, because that immediately brings them to life. Now what I'm going to do, because I quite like this red edge here, you know, it's the binding that comes with the book. So I think I rather like that, and I think I'm going to keep that where it is. Now, also, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'll use the glue stick to put down the main area of the paper, and then just come back with the liquid glue on in my little fine bottle to go around the edges and make sure that they're glued down. So let's do this first. We're going to do the back of the back cover first, so that any mistakes we make happen there and not on the front. But we need a big piece of paper to glue this down. Don't you love it? This is the black paint is from when I did the masterboard for the stained glass video. Even the backing papers that are used for catching the paint when I'm working have a history, don't they? Anyway, make sure with the glue stick that we go all over everything and make so that some of it doesn't lift off when we're not looking. And then we'll turn it over and start smoothing it down. It looks beautiful when it's done properly. There's going to be a bit of an edge, but that's okay because we'll fold that over, as you will see very shortly. Okay, we're going to, I'll cut across the corner, the cover across the corner, because that gives a neat edge once it's folded. Then what you do is you run your finger, if you're naughty, down the edge to lift up the fold. Not good for the nails, so let me get out the bone folder and rather do that, because it's much easier to make a neat fold if you do it the right way, isn't it? Doesn't it look lovely? I think it does. Okay, now the front. Just fits. Fabulous. Okay. I don't want to keep us going too long, so we're speeding up here again. So here we go with the glue on, nice and quickly. And goodbye to the ugly black cover, and hello gorgeous to the new one. Obviously it's the same procedure for the front cover as it is for the back one. The glue stick, lining it up neatly against the red binding, and then pressing it down firmly, flipping it over, giving it a good folding over the edge with the bone folder, and then pushing down the border. Such a pretty border it is inside, to make sure it's all in place. This is going to end up fantastically. I've got you out. Let me tell you what I'm going to do now. I think I'm going to have to move away from the sun to carry on working, so I won't be able to film but I'm going to outline these, put some more detail on them, attach the label. I think the label will have to go up here. That's his video journal and the year date, 2025. And yeah, then once I've done that, the sun will have moved somewhat, and I'll be able to show this, the finished product, and the end of the video. And here is the finished cover. I'm so pleased with it. I do think it's turned out extremely well, and I've certainly had great fun completing this little project. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it, and I hope that you will like and subscribe at the end of the video if you haven't subscribed already. And please don't forget to leave me a comment, because it makes a huge difference to get a comment from somebody telling me what they think about the actual video itself. So until next week, probably, or maybe even sooner, we'll see you again and we'll chat again. Stay well, stay safe, and bye-bye.